What's up, friend? How are you doing today? This is Joyce at Winding Down Chronicles of an expat going into early retirement in Southeast Asia and on a modest budget. I'm not retired yet, but I am getting there. That's the important thing to remember. I'm not retired yet, but I am getting there, at least for me. It's important to remember because I still have a job and I still have some responsibilities, but it's coming to an end. And what I decided to do this week was to start chronicling my weeks as a countdown to the end of the year, which will basically be my expiration date as far as working. I'm very sure every day, more and more, when I go to work, when I hear the latest news and the updates on funding, and I see the decisions we're making, I'm sure my work will end by the end of the year. I can feel it. Typically, my contract would end a year from now, next June, essentially the end of May, so 12 months. But I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the countdown is much closer, and I am counting on the end of 2025 that this will be it, at least for my career. I think this will be my climactic career ending. Unfortunately, it wasn't a very good experience, and but it's what made it easier to decide to look at this being the end of my at least full-time career, full-time working for an income in an office. I am tired and I'm ready to stop working, and this actually started 5 years ago, 2 years into this job. On previous videos you probably have seen that I'm not very happy where I'm at, and it's just time. And I made a goal. I had a vision. Let's say I had a vision in 2020 that I would stop working by the end of 2025. I didn't know how I was going to make it because I was not ready financially, and it didn't even look good. But certain things happened, and I made some decisions, and certain life circumstances happened that put me in a position that it is conceivable. I'm not retiring with millions at all. I will have to keep a very close budget, but I think that it will be enough. I think if I'm smart, if I'm careful, and if God blesses it, I should be okay. And I believe that God is setting this up for me to do this. So this is my first week 30 out of 30 weeks remaining in the year. Now the countdown might end up being shorter as time progresses into July, August. I might have a more confirmed end date, but as of now, it is very likely the end of December now, and I'm really excited about that. So this is a chronicle to get to that point. I'm excited. This was a big week this past week. I'm going to compile some of the clips that I have of different things and different thoughts that I've had throughout the week, just to put it together and then post this on a weekly basis. So this is week 30 of 30. I probably have said that already. I'm doing this rather unscripted. So this was a big week. A lot of things happened. Board meetings, almost really solidifying our organizational plans 90% of the way. They still have something to deliberate on, although there's no point in deliberating too long about it because I already know what they have to do, and they can't break the Thai law. I mean, they can't break the law. So I already know what the outcome of that has to be. I just hope that they make it easy. So some of the highlights this week. One of the things that I do on a end of the month basis, so May just ended. It's the 1st of June today, and every month I review my budget and I compile and consolidate all my accounts and my transactions for the month. and then I put it into a budget versus actual for my personal spending based on my budget for the year. I know, I'm a geek. I do that. I do it at work and I do it in my lifetime. I do it in my own personal life. I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. And every year I get better and better. It becomes more developed and much more streamlined than ever before. And this year it's pretty impressive if I ask myself, if I say so myself. It's a combination of spreadsheets and Quicken export of my accounts. But in Quicken, I'm very limited with what I can see and how I want to see it, especially because it doesn't really consolidate multiple currencies very well. So, an episode I'll go into a little more detail how I do that. The one thing of this week, before I go into the finances, is I have posted 6 videos so far. I'm very proud of that, and I think there's 3 subscribers. You know, this may end up not being much of anything. It may not turn out to be anything, but at least it is therapeutic for me. I've said that before. It's very therapeutic for me, and the one thing I'm seeing that I'm doing is I'm much more comfortable talking in front of a camera. I have taken so many videos. I have deleted so many videos that it's ridiculous. And for only having posted 8 videos, 7 have been already published, and one of them is pending. It's scheduled to come out a week from now. I don't want to put them all at one time because I do want to space them out. I don't have time to make videos on a daily basis. This is my only opportunity when I do come to the pool. And why do I do it in the pool? I mean, I probably won't do that all the time like this, but this is where I get some space to be alone. I think well, and I feel better in the pool. I feel like I'm in as much exposed air and nature as I can possibly be for being in the middle of a city. And it just is. It's just easier for me to do it here, especially when we don't have anybody in the pool. I pretty much have this all to myself. So I'm pretty proud of the fact that I've posted 8 videos. I think one of the videos was watched 8 times, and I think probably 6 of those times was by me. I just kept analyzing what I did wrong, because I am trying to improve. You know, maybe this will grow in the future, but in a way I don't really care. I'm happy if it will help anybody, but I think the big thing is it's helping me talk through these processes, and I want to look back on this time and see what I was thinking and see what I was going through and how I was feeling, because this is a big transition for me to think about not working and to have to phase down on a job that I'm not very happy about. It's discouraging, but this past week was encouraging enough that I've motivated myself to really look forward. And I think a countdown always can excite you to look forward to something. And so this is my countdown, my personal countdown, week 30 of 30. And so in my finances, what I wanted to say here was the investment that I made into an investment group. And it's not cheap, but it has highly good value for what I get from it. Just to give you an example. So, it's the strength of the mentality, of the mindset of an investor. I was doing this on my own. I was investing on my own back really when the COVID started, and it seemed like every time I bought a stock, it dropped $5 or 3 to 5% immediately. And I heard that that's always part of the brokerage fee. You buy something and they always sell it just slightly above the going rate. So they're always making some type of little margin on your purchases. But to see investments go down after I thought I was making a good one, 5, 10, 15%. I've got 2 investments that are almost 20% now. I've had worse, and I've taken big losses. But the point is, right at the beginning of the year, I invested a substantial amount of money, and I did over the next 2 months, January and February 2025. and it was going up. The market was going up, going up, going up. You know, you feel like a genius when the market's going up. And then I knew better. The group I was in, and some investing gurus that I do follow and I do fully trust. Not fully trust, but 99%. I know what they're talking about. They were warning you, the market's really hot. It's hot. It's hot. You know, hold back on your money. But I just kept seeing it, you know, even after all these years, I still fell into the trap. I kept seeing the market going up, and I really wanted to own some of these stocks, these companies. And the market, you know, peaked, you know, it was all over the Trump hoopla. The market just, ever since he was elected, you know, the market just went crazy. And by February 18th, I was up by 22%. From January 1st to February 18th, I was up 22%. That's crazy. And then Trump started talking about tariffs. And then you know what happened from there. From February 18th all the way till April 4th, when the market hit its bottom. That was, what did I do? I lost from April 18th from February 18th to April 4th, I lost 22%. And you know what? I didn't panic. I still had enough money. I held on to enough money. I should have held on to all of it because I just knew. I knew what I was doing was stupid. So I was investing at the peak in February 18th. By April 4th, the market bottomed by 22%. My portfolio did. And then, I'm trying to read my writing. I write like chicken scratch. Oh, so the overall portfolio downside from year to date to April 4th, I lost 13%. From February 18th to April 4th, I lost 22%. From the 1st of January to April 4th, it was 13% drop in my overall portfolio. That was because I was adding money. And then, since April 4th till yesterday, when I checked my balance, I am up 40%. 40% up. So I am up 20% I've regained 20% of what I originally lost on top of what I lost. Year to date, my portfolio, it's only June, or it was May 29th, last day of the market last month. Year to date, I am up 20%. So this is the strength of what I've learned about the market, understanding the market, and being in part of a group where when the market goes down, you buy. When there's blood in the streets, I think Buffett said, when there's blood in the streets, you buy. And that's what I did. You think long term, if you buy good, strong companies, you don't get feared out, you don't get fear, you don't let the media, you don't let these YouTubers that don't know what they're doing, these traders come on and scare you out of your money. You stay long, you buy good companies, and you just hold. You just hold. If you look at the trend of the market since its conception, it has always gone up. And and every little crash, there's a little blip. It's just a little blip. I'm telling you, the investment group has changed my life with this. Understanding the market, and then just not being afraid. You know, I'm buying when everybody's afraid. Everybody was afraid April 4th through the next couple weeks. Everybody was selling and I was buying. I was buying with as much money as I had, and I wish I had more. I am up to date 20%, and it's not even halfway through the year. I mean, things could change, but this was just very profound for me, because the last 2 years, you know, the market was just going up, 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 up. And then since Trump came, there's been a lot of volatility and turmoil. But that's what the investment and understanding the market and being around like-minded people in investing and seeing what they're buying, looking into what I want to buy, build my blueprint, I'm telling you, it's just game changer. Game changer. I don't even sweat it. No, I don't like to see the blood. I don't like to see the red. I don't like to see the market again that going down, but I don't worry about it anymore. And I know what's going to happen. And I think we're in anyway, that's a little too much detail. But that was big this week. Another thing that was big this week is I started Lao lessons. So I've been studying Thai for 7 years, and I stopped this past year. I needed to take a break. And just last week, I committed to start learning Lao because I'm going to be retiring in Lao, and I want to be able to speak with my wife's family. I want to speak with the community. I want to fit in as much as I can. And I think the best way to learn the culture, to understand people, and to remove the barriers, as much barrier as I can, there's always going to be a barrier, is to learn the language. So I really deliberated last week, do I want to lose all my Thai? But actually I'm only enhancing my Lao language learning. The language, the script is more different than I expected, than I remembered. It's very, very different. I never learned the script. I just tried to learn to speak phonetically, but that's a mistake. The game changer for learning Thai for me was to learn the script. And that's really how you learn how to speak properly. And you understand why the tonations. The tonal languages in Asia are extremely, you need to understand the tones, you need to understand how the script works, and what causes an up, a rising tone, a low tone, a medium tone, a mid tone, what do you call it? So I committed and I started learning Lao, and I'm really glad I did. It's been a major learning curve to learn the script. Very different from Thai, but similar enough that I'm not starting from scratch. Words are very different. A lot of the words, some of them are similar, but more different than I remember. So I'm getting a head start on my new life, my transition into retirement. And I'm really happy I did this. So I've had 3 lessons with a professional tutor online, and I have another lesson tomorrow. I had 2 last week. I'm going hardcore on this, baby. I'm going hardcore, and I want to be ready as I can be to hit the ground running when I get to Lao and start my new chapter. And fortunately, I have a Lao wife who can help me. She's not really good at teaching it, but at least she can speak to me in words for me to understand. And I also study 30 minutes to an hour every day. I listen to audio, and I read and I write. I read and I write, and I read and I write. I'll show you in my notebook, but it's full of just reading and writing and speaking, reading, writing, and speaking, reading, writing, and speaking. That's the only way you're going to make progress really fast. So that was number 2. Another thing that I'm going to talk about probably in later is I met with 2 financial advisors. One was free, and the other one I did pay a $300 fee for a 45-minute interview and with recommendations. They reviewed my financials, and they gave me some advice. I think it's important. I want to share that with you just in case you could benefit from it, but just to show you what you get. So this was a one-off fee. They did review my finances from mid-March. So that's when my portfolio was tanking. So my portfolio is extremely different than it was 2 months ago by 15-20%. And then so I want to go, I'll share some of I saw the 2 advisors based on a recommendation of another guy who's retired, and I'm glad I did it. And and I'll do a review of that report. And then I did see another advisor. Their initial interview was, they did analyze my portfolio, but they did give me some broad stroke recommendations and observations. but they are selling a service, and mostly basically assets under management or a continual advisory fee. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. I probably will keep an advisor to pay every, like, a couple times a year, maybe two to three times a year. I don't think every quarter is necessary, but just to get an update and review my portfolio, review my strategy. I will be using a bucket system because I don't have enough money to live off dividends. I will be using a bucket system, and I'm gonna schedule to meet with these advisors to help me make decisions along the way. And the small fee will be worth any kind of potential losses I might make on my own, foolish mistakes I might make on my own. I did learn a few things, and I'm really glad I did this. And one of the other things that I did financially was I invested in Boldin, BOLDIN.com. This was also recommended by another youth financial guru. He's not a guru, he just talks about his recommendation. He talks about his financial experience, and it's really worth it. So just to give you an example, my Boldin, you put in all your details, all your accounts, all your spending, your future spending, and it runs through all these simulations called the Monte Carlo simulations. So it's basically millions of simulations of what are the odds of something happening with your portfolio? What are the odds of success? What are the odds of failure? So right now, my Boldin is set up to have a minimum monthly spend. I have a base expense expectation for next month, for when I retire, for minimum $2,000 a month. I need $2,000 a month to retire on, minimum. Anything beyond that is flexible income. For the most part, I mean, that might change. So just to give you an example, in March, my Boldin average for success was 74%. I had a 74% chance of success given the market in mid-March toward the end of March. Now that has gone up to 91% just in the past 2 months. So that's how critical the Boldin is helping me see things I wouldn't have seen before, and just to monitor and gauge what possibly what I might need to cash in on and replenish various buckets in my account. But I really recommend that. It's only $10 a month. Your first year you get a month free if you pay it all at once. $120 you get a month free. But yeah, really, I think this is something I'll look into a little further later in the year, or for a future video. Here I have. So I took the time to implement it. Oh, so the other thing I'm doing is I'm implementing some quiet quitting strategies. I'm taking advantage of my sick days. So normally, like, I was sick this past week. I didn't have COVID, even though that's going around, but I was sick. I was started last Sunday. I had a bad cold. I didn't even go to church and that would have been rare for me. But normally, I would have either worked at home or sat at my desk and even gone to work in my previous life, but not anymore. I get sick days. I did work periodically throughout the day, and I did check mail, but I took my sick days. I earn these sick days. I get these sick days, and I've never taken sick days except to go see a doctor for checkup. So even when I'm sick, I don't take sick. I don't take a sick day. I just work. And I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. Sick days are there to recover, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm taking more advantage of these quiet quitting strategies. I'll put up another video about it. And then finally, this is something that, this is coming from the recent board meetings and just my work circumstances. I'm thinking about compromising and why you shouldn't do it. Some of my biggest regrets in my career have been things I've compromised on, beliefs and values that I compromised on at work. I let the hive mind or the pressure of colleagues pressure me into keeping quiet, going along, don't rocking the boat, don't rock the boat, and staying, not saying something when I believe that I feel strongly about something, and some of the compromises you make, they're very small, they're very minor, and they might not have any impact. But some of the compromises that I regret are the ones that were against my values. When I didn't speak up because I was afraid of offending, or not that I want to offend, but afraid of taking a chance and speaking something that I felt like was really wrong, bad decision. And I'm doing that less and less. I'm compromising less and less, and I see it's putting me at more and more odds with people. And I feel like part of that is the more I spend time with God, the more I realize, and the more I learn from God, the more I realize how much at odds we are with the world's ways, how much more at odds we're going to be. And I see Jesus. He healed people. He raised people from the dead. And what the suckers do? They ran away and plotted to kill him for raising someone from the dead, even someone that they also loved, Lazarus. Just insane. I just saw the persecution that Jesus received, no matter what he did. And I'm like, if he can do that, I can't do that. I'm not saying I could try to live up to that, but I think that's what our standard is. We want to. We need. God said, we're going to be at war with the world, and we need to be able to stand on our conviction. And this is what I'm becoming more and more. This is, I think, why I'm becoming more and more agitated at work. It's a very humanistic work, and I don't want to be. And I feel like, there's some innate conflict that's going to happen. I don't want to get too much into the work, but just the older I get, the more I delve into building a relationship with God, the more I see this happening. And I was just reading about Solomon. That guy, God blessed him, man. And David, and then his son screwed up big time. They were so blessed. He was the wisest man in the world, the wealthiest man in the world. I mean, God gave him wealth beyond anything you can imagine. I think the streets were paved in gold and silver. Just insane. And then this guy, this schmuck, he started, he loved the poontang. He loved the foreign poontang. And that got him into trouble. Then the poontang started influencing him to worship other idols, and that's what he started doing. Even with all his blessings, he just lost it. And similar to David, and their lineage just became cursed. And don't compromise. Don't compromise your faith. My biggest regrets have been compromising your faith. But here's a quote that I found: "To be liked by all is to be loved by no one. You must develop the ability to be disliked in order to free yourself from the prison of people's opinions." That cannot ring more true for me. I am fearful, as probably most people, about what other people think of me. But I'm like, I realize the people that I'm fearing the most, they already don't like me. I'm pretty sure they already don't like me. So what do I have to lose? They're going to put wrong motives on me no matter what I do. So, so this was the challenge. Is there something in my life that I'm willing to be disliked for? And how will I feel about the outcome? And I already know that's happening. I know there's something that's happening. I'm getting a lot of pressure, and it's one of the most extremely uncomfortable positions I've been in. But I'm sticking to my guns, and I know I'm going to be disliked for it. And you know what? A year, 6 months, a year, I'll be gone. 6 months, I'll be gone. And when I'm 60, I'm going to look back on this time, and I'm going to say, you kicked butt, dude. You did not compromise, and I'm going to be proud of what I did. And I just pray that I believe God. This is how God's leading me, and I'm not going to be. I'm not going to look back on and regret that I let the fear drive me. So I'm going to end on that note. This was a long one. This is my first chronicle and winding down on the series. Week 30. Everybody, I'm really happy you're here. If you like this type of content, please subscribe and give me a like. Starting out my channel, I really appreciate it. Until next week, week 29. Take care, God bless, and take it slow.